Hello, it's a great day to find x-intercept and y-intercept. But what are those? Let's get our handy dandy notebook and take a quick note over x-intercept and y-intercept. Well, before we can do that, we need to know the parts of a coordinate plane. All right, this is the y-axis. Some people like to do a memorization trick where they write their y like this to help you remember that's your y-axis. You can't figure out what your y-intercept is unless you know what your y-axis is. Now let's do x-axis. This guy is your x-axis. They're really just two number lines that we smash together. And a lot of times when you're given a coordinate plane, your x and y will be labeled. So if you forget, you can just check. For example, this guy has a tiny little y right there, so in a tiny little x. So if you forget, you can always look at those. This here is the origin. It's where the number lines got smashed together. So basically, they took a regular number line and they took another regular number line, they sandwiched it together at 0, 0. Your y-intercept, commonly used in your slope intercept form, is where your line crosses the y-axis. Or you can think of it as where your x value is 0. Both of those are true. Now your x-intercept is going to be the same concept. It's going to be where the line crosses the x-axis. Or where your y value is 0. Again, these are great things to have on index cards to help you study. I'll zoom in so you can pause it if you need to pause it to write those notes down. Those are what those are. Let's go over to an example. Remember, you can always Google practice. You just have to Google the phrase practice to find my x or y intercept. Okay, so x-intercept. If you forget where it is, look for your x. There it is. So where it intercepts is right here. Now this is a little bit off, but I think they're trying to go for -2. So your coordinate point is -2, 0, or you can put x equals -2. You need to either write the coordinate point with 0 as your y and x as your -2, or write x equals -2. Either one of those are correct. Taking that extra second to write as a coordinate point or write as x equals will make sure that you do the right thing. And we'll give your brain a second to pause. I'm going to do this one in a different color just so we can look back and understand what's happening. So this is my y, and this is where it hits my y-axis. It's a little bit off, but you have to remember that humans made this, so they probably wanted it to be exactly -4, and it just didn't print right. So that'll be 0, -4, or y equals -4. Now again, it's 0 because we didn't move any which way on your x-axis. This one's 0 because this guy didn't move any way on your y-axis. Remember, your coordinate points tell you direction. So your first coordinate is always x and your second coordinate is always y. The x-coordinate tells you your left or right direction. And your y-coordinate tells you your up or down direction. So when I say my x-intercept is -2, 0, that means I go left 2 and then I stay because I move 0. When I say my y-intercept is 0, -4, it means I go down 4 and then don't do anything because my left or right direction is 0. So that is how you find the x and y-intercept. Let's look at this one. So my x-intercept here is about -1.5. and my y-intercept is 1. So you can Google graphs of lines and find your x and y intercept of any line if you need to practice. Remember, doing it one time is not enough. You have to do it over and over again. That's how you find your x and y intercepts. Let's practice graphing a line, and it doesn't ask us to do this, but we're going to find our x and y intercepts after we graph the line. The first thing I'm going to do is write down my slope formula so my teacher can give me partial credit and so my brain has time to process. It also helped me memorize my formula. The next thing I'm going to do is identify my parts. Now sometimes it's a little hard for our brains, especially in high stress situations, so feel free to color in to help you really see what your M and your B is. Taking that extra second can be the difference between an A and an F. I'm going to break this down a little bit further just to make sure my brain understands what I'm about to do and doesn't make any mistakes. Remember, when I'm doing these problems, I'm showing you what's going on in my head when I take tests. So I know my slope is my change in y over change in x. So my change is I'm going to be going down 1, and then my bottom number means I'm going to be going right 5 because it's positive. My y-intercept is 0, 2. Which means I'm not moving anything on my x-axis, I am moving on my y-axis. If it helps you, remember B stands for beginning. So I'm going to begin at 2 on my y-axis because it's my y-intercept. And then from there I'm going to do my slope. Now my slope says down 1, right 5, so I'm going to go down 1 and then right 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to reverse that also because I should have a nice diagonal line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Since I'm going backwards, I'm going to do the opposite of up, which is down. And that gives me a nice line. I'm not going to be able to identify my x. Ooh, I should have used a ruler. Oh goodness. Use a ruler. Don't be like me. That's hecka sloppy. Actually use any straight edge. I never carried rulers when I was in school. I just used whatever I had around. There we go. That's a little bit better. Now, if you don't remember how to do this, we can always be problem solvers, not problem makers. Remember, you can always make a table. So, if I have x and y, let's say I really just need 2 points to graph a line, so I'll do 0, 1, and 2. I can take the formula they gave me and plug in my x values to get coordinate points. So if you don't remember how to graph a line given slope intercept form, just plug in some numbers and it will give you points that you can graph. No worries. Sometimes it's hard to remember the whole rise over run thing, but you can always plug in coordinate points. So again, I just put the numbers in the x spot. I'm going to type it in my calculator. And I got the silly calculator, so I got to type in my fraction a little funky. Oh, I accidentally did that one first. Okay, so 2 is 1.8. Then I'll do 2. Okay, and then I'll do, oh golly gee willikers. See, this is why you gotta be careful and not go too fast. Sorry guys, it's okay, everyone makes mistakes. This is an organizational thing I could have done, by the way. If I had written this next to it or drawn arrows, I probably wouldn't have made those mistakes. See, that's why I tell you guys to watch your organization, because it can make a big difference in your brain and it can help you not make small mistakes like I did. So that gives you some points that you can plot on your line. So if you really don't remember how to do this, remember, the slope intercept form allows you to predict any point on a line. So that can help. Alright, I'm going to do one more, and then we are going to move on. Remember, we don't really have our x-intercept here. If we wanted to solve for our x-intercept, by the way, we can just plug in 0 for y. We're not going to worry about that for that problem, because I want to get one more in before time's up. So again, your first thing is to write your equation. Please, please, please do that. Help your brain out. Help your teachers out. And then I'm going to color coordinate. And I'm telling you what I would do as a student. Remember, Mrs. Summit definitely graduated from college, got a 3.9, and got her master's, and I use colors, so you can too. It does not mean anything bad about you. It's just giving your brain a break. Now I'm actually going to go one more extra step to remind myself that B is actually a coordinate point. And then I'm going to do another extra step to help me remember that this is my direction, and it means that I'm going to be going up 3 and right 1. Remember, mathematicians don't feel the need to write whole numbers as fractions, right? We could even write this as a fraction. We just don't, because that would take more time. And part of the thing about mathematicians is we like to be efficient, we like to be fast. So even though you don't see a 1 there, it means it is there. Think about it like this. If it was just 3 and there was a 0 on the bottom, that would mean that I was going up 3 and then not moving right at all. But the thing with that is 0 means nothing, so you'd just be going up and up forever. And if I simplified this down, I get divide by 0 error. So this can't be 0. You have to always go right 1 if you have a whole number, because this does not exist. It can't be 0. Okay, 0, -5 is my starting point, my b for my beginning. And then my slope is up 3, right 1. And I know it takes a little bit extra time, but it really will help you be more successful. Now this problem doesn't ask it, but since I'm completing my study guide and I want to be good for the final, and I know that number 5 was about x-intercept and y-intercept, I'm going to go ahead and find it just to practice that skill. Remember, your study guide is to help you study, and it doesn't hurt to do a little extra work to help yourself study. So here's my x-intercept. That looks like it's about 1.5. And then my y-intercept I know because that is where I started. So taking that extra step to practice some of those things is really, really good. Your teacher may only put one problem of something on a study guide, but that doesn't mean do it once. If you don't practice things over and over again, you'll forget them. All right, have a great day, Algebros.